Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over Benjamin Percy's X-Force. And we actually do pick up with a two-part storyline that takes place in X-Force number 34 and X-Force number 35. Now, when it comes to this two-part storyline, it deals with the idea that right now Beast has another secret. Now remember, when it comes to Beast in the Krakoa era for X-Men comics, this dude has become very dark, and he feels like that he is better than everybody else on the island. Now, when it comes to this storyline right here, it does take place at the same time that Beast had killed off Wolverine and have been using Wolverine as a weapon. Now, that storyline takes place over in Wolverine comics. And remember, when it came to the rest of the X-Force team, they had no idea what was happening with Wolverine over in Wolverine comics. And the reason why? Because of this two-part storyline. Because they had discovered another secret of Beast. And it shows that when it comes to X-Force, well, they're getting very tired of Beast being around. And so getting into today's storyline, we actually do pick up on Arakko. Now remember, Arakko is the second mutant nation on Mars. Now when it comes to Arakko, there is a laboratory over there where they are able to produce the Krakoan drugs. Now remember, the Krakoan drugs were technically used as a way to make trade deals with other countries around the world, because when it came to Krakoa, when they became an actual nation, you had other countries wondering, okay, are we going to allow the mutants to form their own kind of nation? And of course they did, but they had a trade deal. We will allow you to become a nation, but you have to give us something in return. And so you had the mutants produce Krakoan drugs to help regular humans fight against different kinds of diseases, to also help them live longer. Now, with that being said, when it comes to the laboratory on Arakko, it's being run by Jamie Madrox. Now remember, Jamie has the ability to clone himself. He's better known as the Multiple Man. Either way, he's the one guy who is technically controlling the entire lab. Now, once they are done producing a huge amount of the drugs, well, it's time to deliver it back down to Krakoa on Earth. And so they put it on a spaceship and get ready for space travel. Now, getting ready for space travel, matter of fact, while they are traveling in space to head back to Earth with their new huge amount of drugs, they get attacked by a space pirate. Now, this is a new space pirate. Now, when I say new, I really mean more of this is new for him, and that would be Blackmore. And we saw Blackmore in the earlier books of Wolverine. And what I mean by that is, when it came to Blackmore, he was just your regular mutant pirate on Earth. But once Wolverine was able to stop him, well, he felt like it was time for an upgrade on the idea of being a pirate. And so he began to do his work in space. Now, he does not care that if he does hurt his own people, the mutants, because to him, he is just trying to make some money. And he knows that if he is able to get a huge amount of the Krakoan drugs, he'll be able to sell it for a lot of money. And so right now, it's him and his crew attacking this spaceship. Now, when it comes to Blackmore, one last thing to mention, he does not have regular blood. And that goes into his mutant ability, because his blood is actually acid. It makes him for a very interesting kind of opponent. Now, while you have Blackmore trying to steal the huge shipment of the Krakoan drugs, well, unfortunately, his crew and him find out there are no drugs on this spaceship at all. That matter of fact, they got tricked. This is an ambush. And we come to find out they're being ambushed by Maverick. Now, when it comes to Maverick, he used to be a mutant, but thanks to House of M, a lot of mutants lost their mutant abilities. Now, most of them got their powers back in different kind of ways, especially in the Krakoan era, except when it comes to Maverick, he never did regain his mutant ability. Either way, he is actually a mercenary. And so if you have the cash, well, he'll do the job. And so apparently somebody had hired him to capture Blackmore, which honestly for Maverick is not going to be a hard task. Even though Blackmore does have acid blood, Maverick is really a capable person to handle different kinds of situations. We didn't actually pick up with Sage. Now, when it comes to Sage, she has become an alcoholic lately in Marvel Comics, because when it comes to being on X-Force, you do see a lot of different things. But at the same time, in her past life, she also done a lot of horrible things. And so, of course, those two different kind of moments in her life are blending together. And it's hard for her to kind of keep pushing forward to continue to be part of X-Force. And so she has been drinking a lot. Now, when it comes to Sage, we have to remember that her mutant ability makes her a living computer. Literally, she is a living computer. Now, you do have Omega Red find her, pass out in the middle of some kind of random forest, drunk. Now, when it comes to Omega Red and Sage, it really does seem like Marvel is trying to put the two characters together because they both had difficult lives. They both are trying to turn over a new leaf, but at the same time, they're having a hard time moving forward because all their past crimes. Now, we do pick up with Maverick once again, and when we do, we see Maverick just fighting against Blackmore and his pirate crew. Now, when it comes to Blackmore, he is really believing that he should be able to take on Maverick, not realizing that Maverick comes from a trained team of heroes, or characters really, not heroes, alongside with Sabretooth and Wolverine. So fighting somebody like Blackmore is technically cakewalk for Maverick. And matter of fact, when it comes to Maverick and his crew, they are able to take down Blackmore's crew very easily. But the question is right now, what are they going to do with Blackmore after being able to capture him? We then pick up with Domino. Now, when it comes to Domino, she has been trying to help X-Force bring down Xeno. Now remember, Xeno was one of the many new groups that was first introduced to us in the early days of Marvel's Krakoa for X-Men comics. Except we have not seen Xeno in a good while now, actually, in X-Force comics. Either way, when it comes to Domino, the point of this section is not really her trying to break into different places across the world that belong to Xeno. Is really more to show that with Sage drinking is really hurting the team, because she's trying to call out for help, saying, hey Sage, listen, I've been hit twice. I was able to upload your virus into one of the computers that belong to Xeno, but I'm going to need some medical help when I arrive back to Krakoa. The problem is though, Sage is again knocked out drunk. And so unfortunately, even though you have Domino just calling for help over and over again over the comms, Sage cannot hear. She's out cold. And so Domino does make it back to Krakoa. It's just that she lays on the ground and she's now bleeding out. And we're left to believe that Domino died there at that moment. And we kind of find out that Maverick took Blackmore over to a new kind of prison. Now, the reason why I say a new kind of prison, because this prison was actually built between Earth and Mars. But apparently no one else knows about it except Maverick and Beast. Yes, you heard that right. This is a prison that Beast has made and placed this prison right between Earth and Mars. And of course, no one has found it yet. Now, when it comes to Beast, the reason why he built this prison is to capture different kind of creatures from different parts of the universe so that he'll be able to run his own kind of experiments. And so when it came to Blackmore, well, he was next on Beast's list. Now, Maverick was able to get Blackmore over to the prison, and he then hands him right over to a guard. Except when it comes to the guard, we kind of find out it is actually Solem. Now, this is where I kind of have a tad bit of the problem when it comes to the character of Solem, because the last time we saw him was in the Judgment Day tie-ins for X-Force, or Wolverine, sorry, where he had actually went back to hell with the Hell Bride. But apparently, he's already back on, well, not Earth, but he's back in this realm. Either way, apparently he broke into this prison to pretend to be a security guard to help Blackmore escape, because apparently he feels like Blackmore has a better purpose, a bigger purpose for something down the road. And so this is Solem helping Blackmore basically begin a prison break. And you have different prisoners about to join in on this prison break. Now, when it comes to Solem, you have to remember that his entire skin is covered in adamantium, just like Wolverine claws is. So technically, he's very hard to do damage to. But at the same time, he is a very tricky person. Think of him like the Loki of X-Men comics. He always has something up his sleeve. And even when you think you're able to capture him, he already has a way out in a matter of seconds. Either way, it's him helping Blackmore begin a prison break. And so getting into the next chapter, we do pick up with a huge prison break. You have prisoners everywhere just going crazy left and right. And you have Beast right now freaking out. And the reason why, because now it's just him and Maverick against a bunch of prisoners. I mean, yes, there are security guards here that Beast had employed, but at the same time, there's way more prisoners than security guards. So yeah, you already know all those guards are being taken out left and right. Now, you would think that Maverick would stay and try to help out, but the thing is, he's trying to leave because Maverick was only hired to bring prisoners here, not to actually help control the actual prison. And so he's all like, listen, I'm out of here. But then you have Beast try to call up Maverick and say, hey man, listen, we got a huge problem. All the prisoners across the board have been freed. I kind of, need your help here. Now you also have Solem and Blackmore also causing more problems in this prison break as well. Now we do kind of find out that Domino is okay. Yes, she was shot earlier by Xena while she was trying to escape their base. And yes, she did make it back to the island, but she was found by the healer and he was able to heal her up. Now, you have Sage feeling very sorry about the idea that she was not there for Domino. And of course, you have Domino say, no, I know you're hurting. We have gone through a lot. And you're using drinking as a way to kind of help mend your pain. But the problem is though, alcohol is not the way to go. Alcohol is going to make things a whole lot worse. And so you need to find a different way to kind of mend your pain. Because right now, what you're trying to use is only making things a whole lot worse for you, but the loved ones around you as well. Now, you do have Beast trying to have a way to control this actual prison break. And so what he does, he grabs a prisoner and injects some kind of drug that he has been working on. And when it comes to this drug, well, it does turn this prisoner into some kind of creature that begins to go on a rampage. And this is Beast saying, I'm going to use you as a way to take out the other prisoners and hopefully Blackmore and Solem as well to get this prison back under my control. Now, getting back over to the rest of X-Force, this begins them trying to figure out what in the world has happened to Beast. Because if you remember back in the Wolverine storyline where Beast had killed off Wolverine and had been using him as a weapon, well, when it came to the rest of X-Force, they were wondering where Wolverine was, but at the same time where Beast was as well. Now, in the Wolverine storyline, it was told to us that Beast was using Wolverine a lot to take out different targets across the world. But apparently at the same time, he was also kind of, not the same time, but other times he was going back to his prison to run different kinds of experiments. But X-Force had no idea about it. And so thanks to Omega Red and Sage kind of combining their powers together, Omega Red was able to find a random gate that was made by Beast. And they had no idea about this gate. And that tells them that this gate must lead over to somewhere else. And it does. It leads over to the prison that Beast had made. Now, we do jump back over to that prison, and when we do, we kind of find out that Maverick was not down into helping Beast at all regain control of his own prison. Because again, when it comes to Maverick, it's all about money. But at the same time, he knows when to back out of a deal before he is killed off. And let's not forget, when it came to Maverick, he's not technically part of Krakoa. And so there is a big question. If he does die, can they actually bring him back to life? But on top of that, when it came to Maverick, he didn't want to join Krakoa at all. But at the same time, he's kind of like, you know what, if I do die, I'll get my abilities back. But at the same time, I don't want to. Either way, he knows when to back out of a deal or get away from trouble when things get too much, hot. And so he tells Beast, I'm out of here, dude. Your prison has gone completely crazy. And unfortunately, I am not trying to stay here at all. Later. Now, this does lead us back over to X-Force, where you do have them right now getting ready to use Beast's gate that will take them over to his prison. So yes, this is where they are going to learn the idea that Beast does have a prison, and matter of fact, he used the prison as a way to torture but to run experiments on random people. Either way, once you have X-Force kind of leave, this is where you have say, you know what? I am going to stop drinking. I am no longer going to be an alcoholic because it's only hurting me and my loved ones around me. And so this is her saying it's time for me to stop drinking and do my job correctly. But here comes the next problem though, because remember, Beast earlier sent out some kind of prisoner who was technically being used as a way to kind of kill off the other prisoners to get this prison back under his control. Except when you have the creature arrive, well, it does try to attack Blackmore and also Solon. And Solon looks at this as a perfect opportunity to use this creature as a way to take out some mutants on Krakoa, but to help him and Blackmore get out of this prison. And so you have Solon being able to send the creature back through the same door that X-Force just used to arrive at the prison. And so that creature is now going to attack Sage. Now, once they're able to find Beast, they begin to question him very quickly, like, what in the world is going on here? And you have Beast say, yeah, you know what? I did build a prison here, and I was using this prison as a way to capture different kind of creatures and run experiments on them. Now, when it comes to X-Force, they are very upset about this because they had no idea that Beast was doing this. But on top of that, it's them saying, dude, here you are again thinking that you are our superior, that you are better than everyone. And here you are doing some more dark, crazy stuff behind our backs. This is not okay at all, my dude. And so you have Omega Red grab Beast and saying, we are leaving, but you are definitely in some big trouble right now, my friend. Now, the way the book ends, you actually do have Sage being able to stop the creature that Beast had released earlier, but was hoping the creature would be used to help control the prison break. But unfortunately, Solon sent the creature over to, well, attack Sage. Well, when X-Force do arrive back, they were able to see that she was able to protect herself, but at the same time, took another step to say she's no longer going to be an alcoholic. Either way, it does end with Omega Red and Domino bringing Beast back to the X-Force base. And when they do, it does seem like maybe Beast will finally be put on trial. Now, here comes the problem with this storyline, because it does seem like it does take place at the same time as Wolverine is right now being used as a weapon by Beast. But the problem is though, in that storyline, Beast was actually killed off by Wolverine and was then brought back to life in some kind of secret lab that he had, where he had a clone by himself hidden away secretly. But at the same time, in this storyline, he ran some kind of prison. And so even though it seems like both stories are technically taking place at the same time, unfortunately, they don't line up very well. Either way, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.